Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hypnopete. That's my very first video actually on this channel. And just want to give you a quick idea what this is about, what I'm about, what this channel is about. What are you doing here? What can you expect? So, about 3 years ago, hypnosis or hypnotherapy actually came into my life and in a positive way flipped it literally upside down. Now, if you're like me at the time, you probably are like hypnosis or hypnotherapy. That's like where someone takes advantage of me or basically takes control of me, takes control of my thoughts. That's what many people think, but it's a huge misconception. But I was at the time in a similar position. I was skeptical as hell. I had no idea what this actually is. Now, what is hypnosis? It's, in the end, nothing but bringing yourself into a sort of drowsy, sleepy state called trance. You often experience a trance, for example, if you watch TV. Maybe you sometimes realize that the advertisement for chocolate went right in, unfiltered, and you suddenly are running to the fridge. Maybe you know that. So it's a similar sort of state that you're in then. And what it can do, all of us, everyone, me, including you, we are wired through our subconscious minds. As you know, you have a conscious mind. That's the part of you that is able to make decisions, for example, and also reject information. And you have a subconscious mind. That's where, mostly, especially in your childhood, everything you ever experienced went in unfiltered. So whatever your parents taught you, every no, every shouting of your father, everything you ever experienced is saved on your subconscious mind. So it's pretty much like a hard drive. And what happens sometimes is that, or I mean sometimes, probably everyone, because no one had ever a perfect childhood, everyone at some point has experienced some sort of trauma. It could have been, just for example, you are 3 or 4 years old, maybe you don't even remember anymore, and you wake up and you're alone. Your parents are not there, your mom is not there, and you, your younger version that is 3 or 4 years old, feels lonely. And especially for a baby, that's sort of our caveman survival DNA. If a baby is by itself, because you can't go to the supermarket yourself yet and prepare yourself foods, you rely on your parents, your mother especially, to survive. So in that moment, when you're 3 or 4 years old, you actually experience a death-similar sort of fear, because death for a child, that's basically what it means when your mother is not around and is not there to save you, to feed you. It would have been worst case scenario equal death in the past, in, for example, the caveman times. And sometimes, or most likely, those sort of traumata are still in your subconscious mind. And that's why, for example, maybe 30 years later, you may have some trust issues, or you have issues to be by yourself, because this trauma from that fear of being alone is still conditioned within you. And that may be the reason, maybe the handbrake that you maybe right now have in your life. And with many different things, that's exactly what holds people back. There's no one out there, believe me, no one, no matter how rich they may be, how successful they may be, that has not some sort of trauma and anxiety within them. Now, there's people, obviously, if you are, for example, a successful entrepreneur or generally maybe making a good living, then there's people that are still very good at conquering them fears and not letting them hold them back from achieving the things they really want to do. But still, what I experienced myself as well is I'm also a lot into personal development, self-development, that sometimes you grind and grind and grind, you try to reach from A to B and you even make it. But along this journey, there's sort of a, let's say, quality of life missing, a sort of fulfillment and joy. Because the most, like, if you are a bit into personal development yourself, the most motivational speakers always say, if you want to get a better version of yourself, you have to be able to love yourself the way you are right now. And that's sometimes easily said. Like, there are a lot of people who are all about consciously fake it till you make it, forcing themselves, I'm happy right now, like, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled. And to a degree, it might work. But what if that maybe wasn't necessary? What if you could naturally just free that love towards yourself and that joy from within you by, for example, letting go of traumata, of like weight on your shoulders that is not meant to be there anymore from your past, that you're still carrying around and that holds you back in your life. I was one of them myself. I suffered many years of dark times where my environment conditioned me in a way that wasn't really, in a way, developing myself into a right direction regarding confidence, self-esteem, also things. And then I started traveling 4 years ago, and my whole journey changed. I changed. I flipped myself around 360, and I have now a completely different view of the world. And hypnotherapy, that's the biggest part in this. Because what I experienced at the time is I was in a massive crisis. It was about 3 years ago, and I went to this hypnotherapist. And at the time I was pretty broke. I was a uni dropout, and regarding socializing, relationships, career, all sort of areas of my life were not really at the state where I would like to be in at the time, because I just felt deep from within as a failure. I felt like I failed because at the time, the mindset that I still had, or the view of the world and society from that point of view, from the classical society point of view, when you're 25 and a uni dropout, you're not really successful, not really considered a top player from the society aspect. But then I got treated with this, and I literally went from the deepest point of my life ever to, at the time, the highest point within an hour. And then I was sitting in a cafe. I remember I was eating a kebab, and I was completely flashed by what happened, and I tried to understand it, and I actually realized that nothing externally changed. The only thing that really changed was my thoughts, and not consciously. It was not me suddenly being able to force myself to be confident, to feel happy. It came from deep within, from my subconscious. And there I really realized that everything in life is about perception. You can be on the most beautiful beach of the world, or you can be in minus 20 degrees in Siberia. Maybe you hate winter. If you're happy within, then it doesn't matter where you are. Because when you're internally happy, externally is not that hard, it's not that important anymore, and you're also able to, or you will naturally see the world much more positive and find a lot more joy. So, as mentioned, this is the very first video. It's very hard to, there's a lot of content I would like to put in here, but I have to keep it short and simple for now. Now, if there's anything in this video that maybe made you curious about what I'm talking about, what hypnosis is about, and there's also another therapy I do called Hegelian therapy that is even more effective and super simple, then if you're curious, just shoot me a direct message here on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube, hit the comments below, or click the link below, go on my website. There you find a bit more information about what the two main treatments I do are about, what they are for, and maybe you find your issue in that list, or if there's anything specific, just hit me up. On the bottom of my website you will be able to contact me via email, and then I will get back to you within the next 48 hours.